Hey there, it's Jen, and I'm back after a long break from scrapbooking. My basement was getting finished, and my scrap room was all torn apart, but it is not put together yet. But I'm scrapbooking anyway because I needed it. I missed it, so I'm dealing with the mess and scrapbooking in a much smaller area because I have things everywhere. And today I am doing things a little bit differently. I'm using things from my stash. I went to the scrapbook store and I got a few new things from some of Crate Paper's new lines. And I'm also using some old scraps. And I'm using this photo of my daughter and my cousin's little boy at the beach. And I'm just going to use a bunch of, like I said, some older stuff and some newer stuff. For my background, I'm using this paper from the, I think it's That Away collection from Studio Calico. It's a little bit older, and it's kind of like an ombre wave paper, and then it has a really super light map print on the back. You can kind of see it at the top there. And I'm going to be cutting my papers into strips, and this layout is in response to a scrap lifting challenge posted on the Victoria Marie Facebook group. Victoria made a page and a bunch of people have scrap lifted it and are tagging each other to scrap lift it, and I've been tagged by Jenny Box here on YouTube, and so I am scrap lifting that layout, and it kind of has a bunch of different strips of paper with a photo amongst them, so you'll see how I do that here in just a second. And I'm just kind of deciding now how I want the, like, kind of what order I might want the papers to be in. And I'm measuring my photo because it was 4x6, but I put a small mat around it. So I'm measuring it to see how big I need to cut my strips because I want them to line up exactly with the photo. So they're just over 6 inches. And my idea was to use a lot of neutral kind of papers because my background was colorful and I usually go with a neutral background, so this is a little bit different for me. I ended up adding in that navy paper that you see right there from Dear Lizzie, and I'm adding in this paper that I'm cutting now is from the Crate Paper Open Road collection, and that's going to be my pop of color. And I liked that paper because it kind of matches the colors in the photo. This striped paper is from Maggie Holmes' new Confetti collection. And then I have a super, super old basic gray, that circle paper that you saw me cut earlier. And then the map print that's just the tone on tone is from the new Crate Paper Journey collection. And that text print is from the Maggie Holmes Open Book collection. So, like I said, a lot of crate paper and some old, some new stuff. And I'm just using up a bunch of random papers here. So now I'm going to go ahead and cut all of those papers in half so that I can use them multiple times on the layout. And I know I want a variety of sizes of strips, but I'm going to cut them all sort of equally, and then I'll vary them as I glue them down. So I'm trying to decide first what will look best next to the photo, and I kind of am obsessed with diagonal stripes, especially a thin diagonal stripe like this one. That's why I bought that paper. And so I'm going to put that next to the photo because it seems like the most logical choice. It just looks nice against it, and I knew I wanted the same paper on top and on bottom of the photo. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and layer them all together, and I'm trying to decide how far apart to place the papers. And I pulled out that tag from the American Crafts DIY shop, and it's kind of got a text print on it or a dictionary printed pattern on it. But I end up not using that because it just doesn't have enough contrast against my papers since a lot of them have text on them. So I'll end up pulling a different one here in a little bit. So now I've kind of got them sort of placed how I think I might want it. And I'm just trying to decide how much of each paper I want to show. I'm pretty sure I don't want too much of that colorful paper to show, and I know I want for sure on that Liz Karchner, that navy paper, I want that phrase to show, so I'm just going to show that one line on that paper. And I'm going to start gluing things down, and I'm sorry because you're going to see my head here in a second because I am trying to make sure that I line that paper up nicely at the top. And in a second here, I'm going to decide, since that I have that navy paper at the top, it's kind of a really heavy, visually heavy paper, that I'll need to add some of that to the bottom. So I'll do that here in just a minute. So I'm just putting adhesive on the bottom part of the strip because I know I'm going to rough up the top edges to give it some more dimension. And I'm just kind of varying the amount of space between each layer. And then I'm trying to make sure I get them as straight as possible. And then I'm trying to decide how much space I want on top and bottom of the photo. And I'm going to put more space on the top than on the bottom, and that's where I'll end up putting my title eventually. And I kind of like the variety of I don't know if you would say widths, but and I'm taking special care to make sure certain parts of each of those papers are showing. I want that striped paper that I'm laying down now, I want that masking tape, that faux masking tape to show, and so I'll end up arranging it so that you get a little glimpse of that. It's a little detail that I liked, and so I'm having a hard time lining up my papers, but eventually I get it. And I'm a little out of practice because I haven't sat down to scrapbook for, like I said, about a month, so it's been a while. I needed this little break from from reality to get into scrapbooking. I just need that break in my scrap room. I've noticed more than ever that that's really an important part of my schedule. So I'm going to schedule the time in whether my room is messy or not. So again, just laying down those papers, and I'm trying to decide how much I want of that blue pattern at the bottom. And I put it at the very bottom because it's so heavy, it kind of anchors the whole thing down. And like I said, it's just visually, it's weighty. So I put it at the bottom, and then I'm just going to trim a little bit off the bottom, or trim off the excess from the back. And then I'm going to go ahead and, like I told you, rough up the edges of each of the papers. And I just use my fingernail to do this. I kind of scratch my fingernail along the edges of each paper. And yeah, sometimes I get paper cuts, but I deal with it because I don't know. I find for me, I get the most control this way, and it's just easy because I always have my hands with me. So I don't have to worry about any tools or anything like that. So it's just really an easy technique. So now I'm trying to decide exactly how I'm going to put the photo, and I'm going to put it up on Pop Dots. I'm still trying to make that tag work, but it just doesn't. But I'll play around. I'm trying to kind of slide it into the layers, and I really like the way that that looks, except for the fact that the tag doesn't look good. I like the tucking, and so I'll end up tucking several little embellishments in the layers, and you'll see that here in a little bit. But for right now, I'm going to go ahead and place my photo down, and I'm going to use, oh, first I do find the tag. So I'm going to add a craft tag, and again, these are from the DIY shop from American Crafts, and I like the contrast that the craft tag gives. I know I don't have any other craft on the layout, but I kind of like that contrast. And eventually I'll bring in some other elements that kind of pull that craft color. So here I'm using some thickers, and these are some new ones that I got. They're so cute. You probably can't really tell, but they are black, and they have a gold stripe in the middle of each letter. They're just super, super cute. I thought I was going to use them for this layout, and my title was going to be Beach Buds, but it just seems really heavy to me. It just doesn't, I don't know. I usually do light and airy layouts, and this is not one of those. This is very, like I said, very different for me. And so I'm struggling with adding more weight. And so I thought I would try a lighter color of thicker. So I pull out these light, they're a creamy yellow, and I think those might work. And then I pull a few different varieties. I pull some gray and some other black ones that I thought might work better. I found these little banner-shaped ones, and I also found that little California sticker stuck to them, but it doesn't end up working on the layout. I thought I might use it because we are in California, but it doesn't work. And these match it really nicely, but since I want to put my title on that striped paper, it's just not going to work out. They just don't look right. So it doesn't end up working. I'm going to try it anyway, so you'll see me fiddle around with it. I don't know why I even pulled off all the letters because I could tell immediately that it wasn't going to work, but I thought about it, and I'm just putting it on some wax paper to see so I can move it around, but again, it doesn't work. So back to the drawing board. Sometimes when you have so many options, it's a bad thing, you know. So I like these thickers a lot, but there's just not enough contrast between the thicker and the background paper. So I go back to the black ones. They're still not working for me. So I go back to my Wall O thickers. Actually, first I look at my flat stickers, and I think I decide there's nothing in there either. So I'm going to go back to my Wall O thickers because I have a lot of thickers. They're in a huge, like kind of magazine rack flat shelf on the wall, and I pull out some more different kinds of thickers, and I'll come back with a winner in just a second here. But it was a tricky one for me. I don't know. Usually black works because I have such a light background that it needs a little heaviness. I like to have something that has visual weight, but everything else has a lot of weight, so it was a struggle. Again, I pull out all of these other thickers, these grays and things. They're just not they're not right for it. But I'm going to try them all because what's the fun if you don't try every single thing? And then I go back to the black ones. And I'm like, get these off my desk. So I move them all out of the way because I know that none of them work. And I go back to my thicker wall, and I'm looking again, and I find these bright, they're kind of a brassy gold, I don't know, glitter thicker. And this is definitely not what I would have thought I wanted, but it ends up being exactly what it needed. It has enough contrast, but it's not dark. It's just glittery, and that's bright, and that's kind of not light, but it gives it a lighter feel because they're glittery. So these are the thickers I end up going with, and my title becomes something really boring, At the Beach. And that's okay because we're at the beach. So I found a winner, and so now I'm going to go through and try to find a few things to place on the layout. I pulled out these stickers from Fancy Pants that are kind of beachy themed, and none of them work. In fact, I don't really love those stickers, so I should just give them away. I do go through my pink paisley. I remembered that I had a die cut pack from their Hello Sunshine collection, and it's all kind of beachy, anchors, sailboats, and things like that. So I'm going to go through and pull out a bunch of stuff from that pack, and a lot of things end up working. And I'm pretty sure that the video cuts out before I finish looking through all of these, but I just pull out a bunch of things and kind of tuck them into the layers. I'm also going to pull out some gold foil chipboard circle stickers from Studio Calico, and I'm going to throw a few of those on. I pull out some puffy stickers from Embellishing, and I think one or two of those make it on the layout as well. And just, pulling out a few things to just tuck, and I'm trying to get a variety of shapes and different colors, and I'm trying to find the right color of that kind of bright reddish color, and I'm trying to decide if one of these will work for kind of a subtitle. And for the rest of my title, for At the, I end up using some Teresa Collins Studio Gold, their gold foil tile letter stickers. And they don't match the glitter on the word beach exactly, but they're pretty close. And you'll see that in the final pictures. Again, just going through some of these bits and pieces, pulling out a few circles here and there, and I'll find a few different bits that I can tuck into my layers. Again, those are pink paisley die cuts. I love their die cut packs because they come with like a see-through acetate. The one that I was Hello Sunshine or Good Day Sunshine or whatever has glitter. It has gold foil. It has all sorts of stuff. So I like that there's a variety. So here you can see I've got all of my stuff laid down, and I just added the things that I told you about. I'm going to go ahead and add some gold mist from Heidi Swap, and I'm really sorry that it gets cut off, but my camera it didn't have enough memory on it. So anyway, that is the layout. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you'll join me again for another process video. I'm a little rusty, so I hope you stuck with me, and I'll be back soon with another process video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.